Choosing Home by ginnyrules27, Chapter 11. Unaware of the mischief happening up on Olympus, Mal, Ben, Jay, Uma, Harry and Estelle sat as they tried to plan the next possible steps to go after Audrey and Freddie. Persephone had left to set up the plant barrier around the castle.
"Where would Audrey set up base?" Uma asked. "I mean, I doubt she's hunkered down in her castle."
Uma's right, Mal nodded. Aurora would have reached out if Freddie was anywhere near her castle. But Audrey wouldn't just station anywhere. It'd be someplace that would hold some meaning to her.
"The question is, where?" Jay shook his head. "Fairy Cottage," Ben spoke up, and everyone looked over at him.
"You think she's there?" Mal asked, as she walked over to him and gently rested a hand on his shoulder. Ben nodded.
"Considering she took me there every Fairy Godmother's Day, she certainly holds a value in that cottage."
"Not to mention, with Audrey's attitude, it'd make sense," Uma nodded.
"You know, since she still thinks Mal's Maleficent's good, and Fairy Cottage is where Aurora hid from the dragon."
"Believe me, the irony is not lost on me," Mal shook her head. "But it's the best lead we've got, unless you want to check and see if she's on campus."
"We spent time searching, and we run the risk of them disappearing." Jay shook his head. "Not to mention, we've got Evie and Harriet watching the under-15s back at Evie's castle." "Okay, so what? We send in an armed battalion?"
Harry asked. Ben shook his head.
"That's too big of a force. They'd be able to see that coming from a mile away. But a small group like, say, us, would be able to sneak up on them faster."
Mal tilted her head, but Uma spoke up before anyone else could. "Benny, are you suggesting we go after Audrey and Freddie without guards?"
"All the guards are handing out masks."
"Ben, you're the king! You can't go and confront Audrey without protection!"
"There's a three-headed dog on my side, and you guys are all trained in combat. Besides, like I said, we can't really spare the guards from passing out the masks."
Mal shook her head. "If you're going to insist on this, then I'm going to insist you call your shadows. In fact, the more backup we have, the better."
Ben nodded and pulled out his phone. "Let's hope they're awake. I know Jane said they weren't at our party because they were running late, but this sleeping curse seems like it's kingdom-wide now."
"They'll be fine," Mal said, trying to reassure him. Ben sighed and quickly dialed Akio's number.
"Come on, dude,"
Ben thought as he heard the phone ring once, twice. "Ben?" Akio asked, answering the phone.
"Oh, thank God."
Ben sighed in relief. "Ben, is everything all right?" Akio asked. "Jane told Amir and me to stay away from the party, but she didn't really give us a reason. And Carlos texted us about a sleeping curse."
"Not to mention there are rumors about Audrey going cuckoo, which I can actually believe now that I think about it,"
Amir said, breaking into the conversation, and Ben realized he was on speaker.
"Oh, Amir, you're safe too,"
Ben said, sighing in relief once more.
"But yeah, the report's true, guys. How fast can you get here? I'll fill you in."
"Be there in 10.
"Be safe, guys."
Mal couldn't help but sigh in relief. She knew how much Ben cared about his best friends. If they had been under a sleeping curse too, Mal would have no doubt that Ben would have been devastated.
"They'll be here in time,"
Ben said as he disconnected the call and pocketed his phone. "Good," Mal nodded. Ben sighed and gently kissed the top of Mal's head.
"Thank the gods you're all right,"
he murmured. "I'm fine, Ben. She barely touched me."
"Doesn't mean I can't be grateful you're okay."
Mal couldn't help but give him a soft smile at that. Okay, you two can be lovey-dovey when you're married," Uma said, cutting into the moment. "As I said, Uma, just you wait."
"I'm just saying we have a psychotic princess on the loose. Not exactly the time for lovey-dovey stuff."
Mal sighed, but she had to admit Uma had a point. Didn't mean she had to like said point, but it was a point nonetheless.
"She was right,"
Ben sighed, but added with a small grin pulling at her lips.
"But so's Mal, Uma."
Mal chuckled as Uma rolled her eyes.
"So, how many punches did you hit Freddie with, Ben?"
Harry asked, seeing the bruised knuckles.
I think it was about 2, maybe 3.
More than me. Someone held me back, Harry muttered, looking at Jay.
Harry, there wasn't time.
If Bernie had time, I had time. He was making comments about Harriet after all, and he still needs to pay for what he said about CJ. 1 punch, that's all I wanted.
I'm sure you'll get that chance too.
In probably half an hour,
if you're lucky. I'll even hold him down for you. But I think the real question is, what did Freddy say to get Ben to throw a punch?
You don't want to know, Jay. Mal shook her head. But to sum it up for you, apparently Freddy implied that I might not be entirely loyal to Ben after he's no longer here.
Excuse me, I have a witch boy to kill.
Freddy growled. How dare Freddy imply that Mal would do that? Mal was his sister in all but blood, and no one messed with Harry's sisters.
Get in line, Harry,
Jay told him. Captains first, boys. Irma snarled. No one messes with my family or implies what Freddy was implying. Mal shook her head. I told you guys you didn't want to know about it. But in all honesty, is it any worse than what Freddy said in the past? Not to mention, with the exception of when we were 9 and he was 12, I've always gotten the upper hand on Freddy. The day Fred Frollo beats me in a fight is the day Chad Charming joins the cheerleading squad. So will you all calm down?
Bunny, if Freddy gets near Mal and I kill him, do I wind up back on the aisle?
Harry asked.
If it's in the middle of a confrontation and you can make the argument for self-defense, then no. Get him to attack first and he's all yours.
Gladly, Freddy said, a wicked grin on his face as Mal shook her head.
I've been waiting for this day ever since Freddy boy shoved Mal off the docks when we were 9.
I'm sorry, he did what now? Ben said, looking over at Mal. You knew I didn't like Freddy. Mal shrugged. I also didn't know that he tried to kill you. Meanwhile, Uma shook her head. He's not all yours, Harry.
Yet.
He's not all mine yet.
I think she means you need to save some for us,
Jay stated, a growl audible in his voice. Mal sighed. Dear gods, you're like Estelle with a bone on this. Nothing is going to happen because I would go out with Zevon before I went to Freddy for a fling or anything.
That is a legitimate point,
Jay nodded. All 3 VKs knew how much Mal detested the son of Yzma. Thank you.
But we're putting Ben under guard, right?
Uma asked. Of course, Mal nodded. Why is Ben under guard? Akio asked as he and Emir walked in, Lonnie following in their tracks. Not that I disagree, of course.
Because he's about to go up against 2 crazy people,
Jay said as he walked up to Lonnie. Mal smirked as he watched him interact with Lonnie. You seriously were about to go up against a big bad without me?
I was going to call you,
Jay said, keeping his voice low. Then it slipped your mind? Lonnie chuckled. Honestly, Jay, I'm not mad. Well, I would be if you didn't call me because of some reason it was like you were trying to protect me.
No! I know you can handle yourself in a fight.
Jay chuckled. You can bet on that. Lonnie grinned, patting her sword that was still on her belt. But I think we're holding up the planning session. Oh, no! Mal spoke up and smirked as Jay looked over at her. But I guess Jay won't be waiting too long to get a significant other if you two get a nick closer together.
We're just friends, Mal,
Uma stated. Ah! Mal chuckled. Emir shook his head.
As much as I would love to pry into Jay's love life, I want to circle back to what Jay said. 2 crazy people? I know Audrey's gone round the bend, but we knew that since you and Mal got it. Actually, I think that was before that now that I think about it. Audrey now has a sidekick. Remember the guy who crashed Cotillion? Jay asked. Unfortunately, Emir growled. If I'd have known he was involved, I would have grabbed Raja before coming over.
We have got the animal that hates him part covered, Harry said, looking over at Estelle. Emir, Lonnie and Akio grinned as they saw the Cerberus. Freddy won't know what hit him, Lonnie said as she bent down to pet Estelle. Estelle gave her a doggy grin as she scratched him behind the ears.
So, Ben, what's the plan? Emir asked. Find Audrey, stop her before she goes too far, look the other way if Harry kills Fred Frollo. Which I greatly appreciate, Harry said, the wicked grin from before returning to his face. Okay, Ben's condoning murder. Didn't think this would be how I spend my day, but okay. Emir nodded. Considering Mal didn't give us the order to make sure you three didn't kill Freddy after a stunt at Cotillion, let's just say this guy's a special case, Ben stated, his voice getting hard. And Freddy boy's had an overdue date with my hook for about 7 years now, Harry said with a growl. Ben sighed as Emir, Lonnie and Akio all looked at each other. Guys, he tried to drown Mal. Let's not get that far, Mal scoffed. Mal, he shoved you into the cove, Emma stated. What would you call that? Mal shrugged. I still wouldn't say he tried to drown me. Let's not argue semantics, Ben said. Anyway, he tried to kill Mal, ruined her Lady of the Court induction, and now all this with Audrey? Can you see why he might not exactly be in my good books? I'm serious. Do we have time for me to get Raja? Emir asked. Nah. Let's have him meet Marshmallow, Akio said with a cold smirk. Sorry, boys, but New Shoe's got dibs, Lonnie stated. I don't think Freddy is in anyone's good books other than Audrey's right now, and that's something I didn't think I would ever say. Mal sighed, and then paused, pulling out her phone. I just realised something. The Vigos are seriously even with the Eikos? Emma asked. 4-4? No. Well, I mean, yes, but no. Mal shook her head and put the phone to her ear. Carlos, you and Gil is interested in kicking Freddy's ass? Of course you are. Stay right there. I'll have someone pick you up. Disconnecting, Mal ignored the questioning look from her cousin to quickly log into the mental link. Macaria? Mal? Is everything okay? Is it over? It's not over. Not by a long shot. But that's why I'm reaching out to you. Omar and I can handle Freddy without question. But I don't think it'd have the same impact without a representative from Zeus there too. What do you mean, Mal? Oma's Poseidon's granddaughter. I'm the daughter of Hades. If the big three can't be there in person, it can at least be a symbolic gesture. I'm all for it. Great. Oh, before you come, can you pick up Gil and Carlos from the Enchanted Lake? They've been helping revive people who got knocked out. Can do, cuz. Mal smiled as she disconnected. We're about to have some help. Explain, Oma stated. Before Mal could open her mouth, a bolt of lightning struck in the middle of the room. When it cleared, Macaria, Gil and Carlos were standing where it struck. I am never going to get used to that, Carlos muttered. We dropped Jane off at her mum's, Macaria explained as she looked over at Mal, and my brothers are quite annoyed that you asked me to join you and not them. If Herky came, then Haddie would have an argument for leaving Olympus, Mal stated. You're my age. Hylas is a year older, though. Yeah, well, I wanted you by my side, not him. Macaria smiled, trying not to show how touched she truly was. Okay, then. What's the plan? Ben told us, Amir stated. Find Audrey, stop her before she goes any further. Turn Freddy into Tiger Chow. Somehow, I doubt he said it exactly like that. Harry nodded. Besides, Raja would have to beat Estelle to him. Estelle hates Freddy. Good boy. All the new additions to the cottage storming crew said in unison, Amir and Akio nodding their heads. Estelle gave a small yip and wagged his tail, giving them all a doggy grin, not looking like an animal that would be a serious threat. Mal rolled her eyes.
Guys, let's focus, shall we? Audrey, Maleficent Scepter, went after Ben. Ringing any bells? We haven't forgotten, Mal, Carlos said, and unless Mal was mistaken, the younger boy looked more furious than she had ever seen him.
Status report, Deville,
Harry said, as apparently he noticed the same look.
What happened at your lass's party?
Carlos sighed and ran a hand through his hair. Dude staying planted at his side, despite Estelle sniffing at him. Audrey and Freddie walked up, Audrey spewing some nonsense about not being invited, even though I saw Jane post her invitation.
Rambling, Carlos,
Gil said, his voice soft yet firm at the same time. Right, Carlos nodded. Anyway, Audrey and Freddie ranted about how Auradonians are mindless drones, and how Audrey was supposed to be queen. Alexandria Charming retorted that if Audrey was meant to be queen, Ben would have stayed in his betrothal contract with her.
I have a feeling the Banshee did not like that,
Amir said, shaking his head. You'd be right, Carlos said, a dark look crossing his face. Freddie happened to remark how attractive all the women of Auradon were, and went to where Alexandria was standing. That was all he needed to say, as Mal's eyes glowed bright green in her fury. I don't care what you lot do, but I get the first stab, she growled.
But Mal...
You'll have your fun, Harry, Mal promised. I just want to hit him where it hurts.
Chad kinda beat you to it, Gil spoke up. He punched Freddie.
Amir and Akio looked impressed. Didn't know Chad had it in him, Akio said.
It's an older brother thing,
Amir told him.
I know if Freddie was making an advance towards Ashaki, I'd punch him myself.
Hey, don't discount older sisters, Mal shook her head. But speaking of the spawn of all things evil, shall we go and check on Fairy Cottage? Make sure they're still there? Ben nodded.
It's not far from the school, actually. Probably a half-hour walk if you want to teleport us to Auradon Prep.
Which of us wants to do it? Mal asked, looking over at her cousins.
Mine's more water-based,
Emma shook her head. And I think Ben would want me to do the least amount of damage to his floor as possible, Makari added. Mal nodded. Right, everyone brace yourselves then. First stop, Auradon Prep. Then let's get our bots over to Fairy Cottage. Estelle gave a small yip and wagged his tail, causing everyone to chuckle slightly. Ben slipped his hand into Mal's and gave it a gentle squeeze, as if to say that everything would be okay. Mal smiled back at him before enveloping everyone in a cloud of purple smoke once more. It was about to go down. I hope you come quietly, Audrey, Mal thought as the smoke cleared and Auradon Prep appeared in front of her. Peace or war, it's up to you. And I don't think you'd do well against 3 godlings. No matter what Freddie says, you don't want to anger Olympus. Things don't go well for mortals who do. Let's go, she said. Mal shook her head as Carlos and Gil bent over, trying to clear the dizziness. Honestly, 2 rounds of teleporting with not even an hour in between them can make a mortal rather dizzy, Macaria reminded her. Fine, Mal sighed. You've got 5 minutes. If it's not cleared up by then, you're staying here. Aye, Mal, Carlos and Gil nodded. And hopefully we don't miss out on capturing Audrey and Freddie because of this, Mal thought with a frown as she looked towards the direction of the nearby cottage. End of chapter. Hi guys, hope you enjoyed that one. Okay, yes, I do like that chapter, but the next one's rather nasty. And again, I will be editing most of it. Anyway, I do like that one. I like that the cavalry is being called in. I like that everyone's just like, okay, who gets to kill him first? Which is quite satisfying for me, personally. And I like that there's a bit of flirting between Lonnie and Jay, which is cute. I like that you see Carlos angry because of what happened at Jane's party with Alexandria. Not to mention Mal completely flipping her shit because, again, Makari is 14. 14? Ugh. And, you know, just everyone's like saying, Harry. I like that even Ben is just like, okay, yeah, Harry gets to kill him. We look the other way. Just like, there's only so much people can take. I know it's walk the high road, but sometimes There's no excuse, is there? Everyone has imperfections and dark sides, I believe. I've got a dark side, like, there are people in the world I wouldn't mourn if they died, but I would attend the funeral just to make sure they're dead. Just because, yeah, I'm not flawless. Big whoop. Anyway, you guys know the drill. Like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that bell to be notified whenever I upload a new video. Have a good day, night, or whatever time zone you're in. Bye, my guys, gals, and non-binary pals. I'll see you in another video. And brace yourselves, the next one's nasty. If you want to read how bad it is, you can read the chapter yourself, because I'm not going to read most of that aloud. Anyway, yeah, then again, take care. Bye!